stigma is something that government were always fighting against, because stigma prevents people from seeking help. Stigma, secludes people in their homes, or they hide, and as I said earlier on, the sooner we know about dementia, the less stigma associated with it, the more likely we are to bring it to our attention, and the more likely we are to prescribe the appropriate treatment to slow it down and to improve the quality of life of those that have the dementia, and more importantly, or just as important, the family members around a patient or a loved one with dementia. For us, Alzheimer's is a disease that is brought to the attention of the family practitioner, the medical family practitioner. So your general practitioner or your family medicine, it's a community thing. You notice that somebody, he walked past you and you said, "Oh, thank you for yesterday," and he doesn't remember what happened yesterday. So someone says, "Oh, Uncle so-and-so is acting strange," and they mention it to the family, and the family now, you don't take that patient to Lasuth, you take them to your nearest primary healthcare facility or your nearest private general practitioner. It is at that level, at the community level, that we are empowering our doctors and our allied medical professionals to recognize dementia early. So we're doing a lot of training at the primary healthcare level, which is our primary healthcare centers, which is the foundation of our healthcare ecosystem, that we recognize mental disease, of which Alzheimer's is one of them. Now, when I say mental disease, again, we must be careful that people don't stigmatize that designation. Mental disease is just anything that affects your brain or your nervous system, and so because we use mental, it doesn't mean that you are should be stigmatized because you have a mental condition. Anybody can have a mental condition. You can have dementia, you can have depression, you can have schizophrenia, you can have anxiety panic attack, you can have insomnia. These are all mental conditions, and they require attention, they require to be picked up, and they require specialists or specialized medical attention. And we're training the foundation of our medical ecosystem, which is both the primary healthcare structure and also the traditional medicine colleagues, our alternative medical practitioners, in two ways. Because, first of all, they should be able to recognize the early symptoms of dementia, and that is perhaps out of their scope of treatment, and know that this is something that they need to refer to a doctor in the PHC. We also need to be careful that we're not giving them drugs or natural products, herbalist products, that sometimes can trigger dementia or the symptoms of dementia. Because you may be using an agbo or a drug that is from the environment, that we haven't done proper clinical trials on. We don't know what the components of those herbal medicines are. They may have a neurological effect where they cause you to just be a little bit blank or to lose your memory, and temporarily. So those are some of the things that we would exclude as medical practitioners, that you're not using a drug or a herbal product that is contributing to a symptom that could be defined as dementia or Alzheimer's. Dementia is something that can be caused by a multitude of factors. So of course there's your genetics. You were born with a predisposition to dementia. But then there are other environmental factors. You might be engaging in smoking or drinking or taking some medicinal herbs that can accelerate the process. We know the pathophysiology of Alzheimer's and dementia, where the brain starts to deposit some abnormal biological materials in the pathways of our nerves. And we need to be able to slow down that process by reducing some of your lifestyle activities that may contribute to acceleration of dementia. So we would normally advise that you live a more healthy lifestyle, that you do exercise, that you don't partake in excessive consumption of alcohol, which can contribute. You don't use drugs that would accelerate dementia, that you exercise, and more importantly, that you engage in mental activity. So you either read, or you do puzzles, or you watch programs that, cause your brain computation to not slow down. When people get to the age of 65, 70, they feel they're retired. They feel that their brain is tired and they can retire their computational activity. No, it's at that age that you actually need to rev up your computational activity of your brain. You have the time now. You can start a new career. You can engage in hobbies. You can start reading. You can do puzzles. You can play chess. You can trigger your brain. You can engage with the younger people in your family. Take on a sport. Live a healthy lifestyle. Eat a balanced diet. Don't engage in lifestyle activities that will slow down your brain. On the contrary, accelerate the brain. Trigger it. Cause your brain to be constantly engaged. That way you slow down the process of dementia. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And that's one of the commonest causes of dementia. Lecanemab is a new innovation drug that has gone through clinical trials. And they found that this drug, by virtue of how it works, it's a monoclonal antibody. So what is happening there, I told you that one of the causes of Alzheimer's is depositing some biological material in the brain that is not part of the brain. So it's almost like you're putting putty or sawdust inside the brain. And as this material starts to build up, it starts to squeeze the normal nerves and cause them to misfire and to malfunction. So we're looking for ways of reducing that. It's called an amyloid substance. It's not supposed to be there, but it's building up in the brain. We're looking for ways to reduce the amount of this amyloid material from building up in the brain. And this new monoclonal antibody drug that has been approved in the United States through clinical trials has shown that it does reduce this substance and improves the neurological function of the brain. Now, with every new drug, it's innovation. It's brand new. There's been a lot of research and development, clinical trials over years to bring this drug to the market. And so it will have a huge cost implication because the drug manufacturers need to recoup their capital investment in the drug. So every time we see a new effective drug hitting the market, it'll hit the market at a very high cost. And only people who are able to afford it or who have insurance will gain access to this drug. But over time, the drug will, as people patronize the use of the drug and as it's prescribed more, the original pharmaceutical company that developed the drug is able to recoup its investment, make its profits, and then the price starts to come down. It may also go past its patency. A patent is what the international patency organizations would give a drug developer a period of time where nobody else can manufacture this drug, so that you're the only person manufacturing it. You set your price, so you recoup your investment. And if you don't do that, then nobody will be getting involved in drug R&D, research and development for drug innovation, because it won't make sense economically. So the pharmaceutical market is able to protect itself by making these drugs available, but making it available initially at a very high cost, so that they can recoup their cost and develop other drugs in their pipelines. And that's just how the economy of big pharmaceutical industry works. It's up to government to now make these drugs subsidized in a way that it can be prescribed to its citizens. So the governments or insurance companies will need to be able to subsidize the availability of these drugs to people who really need it. And then over time, as we get used to it, the price, and more people are using it, then the companies drop their prices. As it goes past its patent, then other companies can now take the formula and manufacture it so that it's now, you're now producing generic brands of the same monoclonal antibody. And once you have generic brands, the price comes crashing down. And of course, there'll be other drugs that this drug will trigger to come into. It won't be the only pipeline. There'll be multiple pipelines behind this monoclonal antibody drug. And as this drug becomes effective, there'll be a host of other drugs coming behind it. And so we will soon have an array of drugs that are available to medical practitioners to treat for dementia and Alzheimer's. But the important thing is that it's detected early and treated early, because you don't want this amyloid to build up in the brain, and you're now trying to reverse something that you could have reversed much earlier on with more clinical benefit.